All right, we're up here in AF Canyon. We're gonna take the Apollo out for a inaugural dirt ride. So this is kind of a main trail up AF here, and it leads to a bunch of forest trails and camping spots and a bunch of other things. But we're gonna take the Apollo 250 out, see how she does. Now, this is a deluxe version of the bike, so it's a dual sport. I actually rode it here from my house, so it rode really well here. The thing only goes about 75, 80 miles an hour, so you're not taking on any long trips. But I want to see how she does initially off road. So this trail's used with a lot of Jeeps and ATVs, and they come up here and camp a lot. So this bottom part of the trail is heavily trafficked. And I wanted to take it out here initially because this isn't an aggressive trail. Pretty flat, rocky, and this bottom part's pretty flat. It gets a little bit steeper up the top, but it's pretty good. Now, the DB, the Apollo here, it has, on the Deluxe, it has a rear adjustable shock on it. I actually haven't adjusted it yet. It's actually pretty stiff, more set for road riding than anything, so I would say the back needs to be adjusted. But it has an inverted front fork, so it's actually doing well on the rocks, and it's pretty flat, but doing decent for what it is. So now this trail has a river on it. That kind of goes down there. This is a really, really pretty trail. Like I said, a lot of camping spots, but the forest up here is beautiful. Now the deluxe version of the Apollo, it actually has an electric start and a kickstart, gas gauge, and a speedo. So some more ATVs. Make some room. There's some loose rocks here, but it seems to be going over everything pretty good. It's starting to get a little bit steeper, but nothing too crazy. I'm running up the back of some Jeeps here, so let me get around these guys. Like I said, a bunch of Jeep trails up here. And this main road leads to a lot of forest trails, lakes, camping spots, different things like that. It actually starts getting steeper around this corner, goes up pretty good. A little dusty. Like I said, bike's doing pretty good overall. Loose rock and stuff like that, and it's having no problem. Again, this is a very basic dirt trail. There's an offshoot that they've closed down. Used to be a Jeep trail, but it looks like they've rocked that off. roads go all the way up the backside of the Wasatch Mountains. And at the top, it's an old mining town from the 1870s, back in the gold rush days. So somebody found some gold and silver up there at one point. It was boom. A bunch of people moved up, made a city in the high mountains there. That city was called Forest City. But not much was found after the initial little bit here and there. But after a few years, the city died out. There were two brothers, Ed and Frank Hines, that moved up there during that time. They were gung-ho to come out and make their fortune, mining gold and silver, but they didn't. When the town dried up and moved away, Frank moved back to New York City. But Ed said he wasn't going to go back until he had made his fortune. So he stayed for 50 years, mined it all by himself. He'd come down every once in a while in the city. After a time, he got a nickname. He was the Canyon Oracle. But as time went on, he came to town less and less. Some people say he found his gold, and then he came to town less because he didn't want people to know. The last time he was seen in town, he had a long white beard down to his mid-chest, sunken eyes. He was haunted by something. A couple of years later, after I had seen him for a while, someone went up there to see what was going on, to see if he was okay. And he wasn't there. He wasn't in his house. Wasn't in the mind. It was just gone. Some say he got lost in the mine. Some say he was eaten by wild animals. Some say somebody killed him for his gold. But a body was never found. Stories go now that if you camp too close to Forest City, the old ghost town, at night, you'll hear rustling. Like someone's going through your stuff, looking for food, gold. But when you look outside, there's no one there. There have been a few reports of an old white man with a long white beard off in the distance, following you, looking at you, waiting for you. This is a beautiful canyon. I mean, cliffs on one side, drop off on the other. You don't get much better than that. To sum up the inaugural dirt ride for the DB250, the Apollo 250, I'd probably overall give it a 6. On the suspension side, the front suspension is better than the back suspension, but that's adjustable, so I need to probably adjust that. Power, probably a 6. It's a 250 dirt bike. It's got the old Honda engine in it, so it does alright. And then handling does okay as well with the suspension, but overall, for a beginner dual sport, it actually does okay. You could probably get to a lot of places with this, and I'll take it for a little bit harder ride in the future, but overall I'd give it a 6.